Good morning. Shawn here with AO. Hope you guys are off to a great day. We're going to answer some more questions today. Be sure to get your questions in through the portal. The mentors, myself included, are thirsty and hungry and starving to answer more of your questions and help you grow your business. Who is going to hit 7 figures next year? Who? Is it you? Is it you? All right, let's get this thing started. Okay, the first question comes in from Dan, and Dan says, how much should I sell 20% of my company for? What are questions I should review from this new partnership? The background is I have a person I've worked with, and he wants to buy 20% of my company. He will be a managing partner. He will take over all logistics and the operations of the business. I will focus on the sales and the growth. This will explode my business. This will also save me lots of headaches on getting projects done. Okay, well, I tell you this, as somebody who sold 51% of my company, merged my company with another company, acquired several companies, I can tell you right now, 100% to get a good attorney involved. Very, very, very important. Sharon Lecter, who has done some workshops with us and has done some special mentor sessions, she talks about it in here a lot. And that is when you go into an agreement or a partnership with somebody, you really want to plan for the divorce. Getting a great operating agreement spelled out between the two of you, especially since you're going to still be a majority shareholder. He's going to be a minority shareholder or member in your LLC. There are a lot of legalities that go on when you start fighting. It will happen. It's almost inevitable in any relationship to go through conflict. And you want to really protect yourself and him in the case of you guys having a breakup or you guys not wanting to work together anymore. I actually caution people to be very careful taking on partners because sometimes you can just hire the type of person that you want. But if you're thoroughly convinced that you want to bring on a partner, if you'll search in this Facebook group, just search for the hashtag partner or partnerships. I've done some mentor sessions specifically talking about the things that you want to take into consideration in your operating agreement. You'll want to have buy-sell terms. You might want to look at forming a board of directors with 3 to 5 people. There are so many things. It would be way too much to go into a complete training sessions. And I don't even know if I would remember everything off the top of my head that you really want to take into consideration when bringing on a partner in your company. But as far as how much you want to sell it for, at the stage of business that you're in right now, the number that you would charge for 20% of the company is an arbitrary number. I don't even know if it would be easy to put any type of real valuation on your company because it's a small company and it's growing, and you're probably going to think it's worth a heck of a lot more than he's going to think it's worth, and it's just a negotiation. But here are some tried and true principles that you could use for business valuation. It could be a certain number of multiple of the profit in your company, like how much profit did you make last year or how much are you going to make this year? And then you might take a multiple of that of 3 or 5 times the multiple, and that would give a total valuation of the company. So if you made $50,000 last year and you say, I want to charge a multiple of 5, which is anywhere 3 to 5 is normal, your company would be worth $250,000, and he would write you a check for $50,000 for 20% of the company. You could do 1 times top line sales. So if you're going to hit 500,000 or $1 million this year, whatever, you could then justify that the valuation of the company is worth 1 time sales. So you could say it's worth $1 million, and then 20% of the company would be $200,000. A lot of it has to do with how much money they have, and then it's basically just an arbitrary negotiation. Feel out what you think you could get. The next thing is you'd have to determine, are you selling part of the company? You want to get with your CPA on this, because this could be a tax consequence. Is he investing in the company or is he buying some of your membership interest or some of your shares, and that's going to be income to you? So you want to get with your CPA to talk about how you're going to structure the new money coming into your company as well. I believe that when we put together a partnership, it's very important to specify the role and do an employment contract. Actually put together an employment contract for 3 years, non-compete, non-solicitation, what their compensation is, also what your compensation is. One of the things that people don't take into consideration as it relates to forming a partnership is, let's say this guy owns 20% of the company, right? And you own 80%. Well, he's probably hoping that he's going to get 20% of the profit of the company because he owns 20%, right? Well, it doesn't always work out that way. So let's say, for instance, you own 80%, he owns 20%, and your company has after paying your salary and paying his salary, there's $100,000 of profit left over in the company. Well, you own 80% of the company. You could just arbitrarily, because you own 80%, you could say, I'm just going to go ahead and pay myself a bonus of $100,000 and you don't get anything. There's no profits. I mean, there's so many ways for majority shareholders to screw over minority shareholders, which is why it's really important to have a good operating agreement. But as a majority shareholder, you can pretty much do whatever you want. So there's a lot of things that he should be doing on his side to protect himself and that you should be doing on your side to protect yourself. How you're going to pay yourselves, how you're going to distribute excess cash in the company in the form of bonuses. There's a lot of work. Now, I know that you're working with Tom still, so Tom can probably work with you when you do your one-on-one calls with Tom as a coach. Tom's been through this many times before as well, and so he can probably provide some good guidance. But I think this is a good start of the conversation, but certainly get an attorney involved, do it legally, figure out the valuation, and then put together a really strong operating agreement for your company after the fact once you get the new partner on, okay? Hope that helps. Okay, the next question comes from Rosalie, and Rosalie says, how can I structure wholesaling accounting services to CPAs so that I can increase profit margins? The background is I have a small accounting firm and we wholesale our services to other CPAs. I work at an hourly rate. I'm trying to change that to become more profitable, currently at 30% profit margins. How do I structure wholesale accounting? I'm not sure I understand your question, Rosalie, as far as structure. How can I structure wholesaling account services? I'm not sure I understand your question. It sounds to me like basically you're going to call on CPA firms. You're going to let them know your hourly rate. I'm not sure what your question is here. I'm sorry, but I'm not sure I understand it. So maybe you submit another question in the portal, give a little bit more explanation, because it sounds like you already have it structured. Like you're going to call CPAs, you're going to sell your services, do the work for them. It sounds like you already have it structured. So let's go to the next question. Next question comes from Shawn. Great name, Shawn. His question is, what are proven and recommended ways to launch an online service and obtain subscribers? The background is I've developed an online service called Master Estimate based on a tool I created for managing the budget of my real estate projects. I've held a beta test period and now I'm ready to announce the official launch of the service. Master Estimate provides a framework for estimates that combines scope of work deliverables with a draw schedule of progress payments and completion points. This enables real estate investors, lenders, contractors, and landscapers to know the numbers at project start and monitor the numbers to project. I plan to initially target real estate investors. As I get subscribers, I'll enhance the service and target other user groups. Okay, so what are proven ways to launch an online service and obtain customers? Well, it says here that you're going to market initially to real estate investors. So I would want to find out where real estate investors are. One great way to find real estate investors would possibly be to talk to real estate agents and ask them if they know any investors in their community, so that you could get names and phone numbers and email addresses to start calling on them. So I think real estate agents might be a good way. Facebook groups. There's Facebook groups that have tons of real estate investors in those Facebook groups. You might want to reach out to the Facebook groups and see if they're open to any type of advertising that you could do for your software. Certainly, online ads like social media advertisements, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. There's a lot of people in real estate that are in those circles. So yeah, that would be my recommendation. I don't know how much you're charging, so I don't know if this is like a software as a service play, or what the business model is going to be. I don't know if you're going to be creating a full customer service team for your software company to help answer questions on an ongoing basis when there's bugs with the software, which is inevitable. I don't know if you are going to have a community or an account executive or a sales engineer of some sort that's going to work to enroll somebody and then give them tutorials and demonstrations and help them learn how to use the software. So I'd need to understand a little bit more about the structure of the company in general, because I've been involved in lots of software companies, and when the software is built, that's great, but the challenge is most people need to learn how to use it. There's an educational component to using the software, so I'd need to understand how you're going to onboard that as well. But to get customers, probably advertising would be a great way to launch, but then B, if it's a true business-to-business play, as far as reaching out to business owners that are going to use this, you might look to hire a salesperson. It depends on what your margins are and how you're pricing things. But if it's a high enough cost that you're charging, I would hire a salesperson and let them make all the phone calls and pitch the product, and then teach them the software and how to onboard them and things like that. So I'd need to know a little bit more about what the business model is to really give you a great explanation. But it's either going to be advertising where real estate investors are, or it's going to be an outreach program from a person like yourself or a salesperson calling real estate investors, seeing what they're using now, giving a demonstration of how your software works and why it's better, and then trying to close the deal. That's what I would recommend, okay? Hope that helps, Shawn. Next question comes from Matthew Phipps, and Matt says, how do you approach a business partner when your responsibilities have become more than the original agreement for the percentage of the company? The background is our company sells a bike product that creates sparks as you wheelie. I was invited to start this business and lead the product development for a 12% stake in the company. Now my business partner has me doing web design, graphic design, sales portals, customer support, and shipping, along with designing our next round of products. How do I approach the conversation that this was not in the original agreement of my responsibilities for 12% of the business, and what is an appropriate compensation to ask for? Or is it best to be happy with my percentage and do everything I can to make this business a success? Okay, great question. I like this one because, this has to do with just having the confidence in an open and trusting relationship with your business partner. I want it, like if I was talking to you on a conversation, I'd be like, well, why don't you feel comfortable talking to your business partner? What's the environment like? Or is it open and you're just trying to get some knowledge before you talk to the person? So I'd also want to know what his responsibilities are for the company, what he does. It's not uncommon in a startup business for each of the business partners to wear multiple hats and do multiple things for the company. As far as an appropriate compensation would be concerned, a lot of that also has to do with what the cash flow of the business is. If the company is just insanely cash flow positive and profitable and there's lots of money, then it sounds like this could be a good time to just say, hey, listen, I am taking on these projects of doing this, this, and this. I don't mind doing the job of 4 people. My current compensation is X. I think it'd be better if I was compensated at this amount. What do you think? And have an open dialogue with your business partner as far as the compensation. And, because think about this, Matthew, if you had to go out there and hire a web person and hire all these people to do these things, how much would that cost? So you could go out there and find out what it would cost if you guys as a business went out there and hired people to do all these things, what it would cost, present that to your business partner and say, hey, listen, I want to do anything that is needed for this company to succeed, but I'm feeling like I'm not getting compensated what I should be for all of the work that I am doing. And here's an example. I'm doing this. If we hired someone else to do this, this is what we would pay. I'm going to do it as a business partner because I want this to succeed, but I'm doing it at a massive discount. I would like to be able to be compensated, an additional amount of X because I'm doing all these things. Does the company have the money? Do we have the cash flow? What do you think about that? And then if you have a fair business partner, then of course they should want to keep you on and want you to be happy. I don't think that necessarily has to do with requesting a higher percentage of the company. That doesn't have anything to do with it, in my opinion, as a business partner. That has to do with getting compensated for the work that you're doing. The percentage that you own in the company was negotiated originally, and whatever your employment contract for the job that you were going to do once you became a shareholder, it sounds like that's what needs to be negotiated, not necessarily the ownership percentage. Now, part of the negotiation could be, well, if the company doesn't have the extra money to give me as compensation, then I'll take it in the form of additional ownership. So it could be options, stock options in the company. It could be able to buy more into the company at a discount. So there's a lot of different ways that you could negotiate this, but it sounds like a good heart-to-heart conversation with your business partner is needing to happen. And so that's what I would do. I would just have a good heart-to-heart conversation. For me, I like to do that outside of the office. I like to let the person know, hey, John, I want to get together and talk to you about a couple issues as business partners. Could we arrange a time to go out to dinner or to have a meeting off-site from the business where we could sit down and I could go over a few things with you? And the goal of the first conversation is never to fully have anybody make a decision, because you're just hitting him up with this information. And you've been thinking about it a lot, but he's just hearing it for the first time. So the first conversation should be, I just want to talk to you about things that I've been thinking about. I can give you plenty of time for you to absorb it, for you to think about it, and then we can have a follow-up meeting to either answer any more questions or make a decision on what a good outcome would be. It's kind of like in relationships where one spouse or boyfriend, girlfriend has been thinking about something and it's been stewing and the other person has no idea what's going on, and then finally they just explode on them and the person's like, whoa, I didn't even know this was going on. So give your partner time to absorb that this is something you've been thinking about. Let them hear it out. Let them think about it. And then you guys have a follow-up conversation of what's going to be the best course of action. Okay? Hope that helps, Matthew. Okay, the next question comes from Robin. And Robin says, how do you calculate the time it takes to finish a project? The background is, as soon as I start a project, I lose track of time. So many people ask me, how long does it take? I strive to learn this. One of the things that a lot of service providers do, especially with, I hire a web designer or a web developer on Upwork, and he actually keeps track of every single minute that he punches the clock to start performing work for me. He puts on the timer. And then when he's done, he takes the timer off and records those hours, and that's how he gets paid on Upwork. My software engineer out in California for the portal, she's the same way. Every client she works with, as soon as she starts working on something for a client, she hits a timer. When she's done, and then she stays focused on it, then she hits the timer and she gets paid per hour. So you might do the same thing for any particular painting that you're working on. You might say, okay, when I sit down to work on this particular painting, I hit the clock. When I'm done, I hit the clock again. And that way, over time and with experience, you can start to gauge how long you actually work on any particular project, which will help you give an estimate of the amount of time and how much money you need to charge for that time. For painting, it's a little different because you're not charging by the hour. It's painting, buying art is arbitrary of what the buyer is willing to pay for the beautiful painting that they're buying. I mean, People pay millions and millions of dollars for somebody's art. It doesn't matter how long it took them to make it, right? It just matters whether they love it and they want it. So hope that helps. Okay, thanks, Robin. Okay, the next question comes from Shelly, and Shelly says, what is your recommendation for handling the stress created from employee mistakes that you have to go back and fix? The background is my company is a fire protection contractor. The background is I'm a fire protection contractor, and I just found out that an employee who's no longer with me has made a mistake on one of the sales tax rates for a particular city. I obviously can't write that person up or have a conversation with them. I want to scream right now. How do you handle this sort of stress? Well, as a business owner, obviously I want to be self-aware that things are going to happen in business. Not everything is going to be amazing, and not everything is going to be horrible all the time. I really want to get into the habit. For me, I like to get into the habit of when something happens, I can control and manage my emotions. This is a work in progress. I used to be very hot-headed. I used to fly off the handle. I used to get really emotional. As I have gotten a little bit older and a little bit more successful in my emotions, I've learned to manage them. There are times that I do still blow up, but it's far and few between when those things happen. What I just like to ask myself, what's the worst thing that's going to happen here? Is it going to kill me? Or is this just something I'm going to deal with? Some of the ways that I deal with when I do get stressed, usually when I'm feeling stressed, I'm tired. Like for me, if I get to where I feel stressed, I know I'm tired and I just need to go to sleep. I really just need to get to bed early or just go take a nap or take the day off. That's when I find that I am the most stressed, is when my body's telling me I'm tired, which wears on my emotional state, and I just need to sleep. I also, as you know, I love to exercise. Exercising increases my energy levels. It helps provide me more mental clarity. I like to eat healthy, even though I love to drink wine and eat great food. I really love to take care of my body. The better I feel internally and physically, the better I feel mentally, and I can handle stress a lot better. So those are the things that I do, is I really make sure I get enough sleep. I become a problem solver. I know and I recognize that things are going to happen, and when they do, I just need to work through it and be okay. But yes, sometimes I want to yell at people when they do things that are wrong, and especially when it costs me a lot of money. It just is part of business, but it is such a shame. It's like somebody crashing one of your vehicles, somebody breaking something in my house. It just is a bummer to lose that money, but it's just part of life and part of business. So I hope that helps, Shelly. The next question comes from Martina. And Martina says, where do I look for new clients other than Facebook and Instagram? And how do I maintain a flow of new clients each month? As a personal trainer online, my clients come and go. I need to make sure that I have consistency in my work and cash flow, as my clients often go on holidays or have personal reasons. Where and how do I get new clients, and how do I maintain them, since I only charge my clients pay as you go? Okay, so one thing that immediately pops in my mind is to sell packages. Sell a package. So if you charge $50 per session, maybe sell 10 sessions for $400. And that way people buy 10 sessions, you get more cash flow up front, and they can use it whenever they want to use it. Or you could put a 1-year expiration on it. And you'll just need to keep a good client log on that. A lot of things are, what I find in a lot of personal trainers and a lot of coaches, if you will, Martina, whether it's a life coach, a business, whatever kind of coaching services people, they don't advertise. They think just putting stuff on social media is magically going to get people to sign up for them and they're going to be good to go. But advertising, like if small businesses need a sales and marketing program for their businesses, including one of your size. So depending on how much extra money you have for advertising, I would want to put together a really strong advertisement and go out there and advertise my services and always have an advertising program going. Nick, who is an HVAC company, even when he's doing really great, his ads still run because he's always wants to bring on new clients and new business. So Every business should have some form of outreach, whether it's a salesperson or advertising, in order to always continually be filling up the pipeline. If you are expert at what you do, a great way to get some free advertising is to be a guest expert on people's podcasts. So reach out to different larger fitness podcasts or business podcasts, and go out there and be a guest speaker, or like a guest on their show. Put together, I'm going to be doing that. You're going to see me promoting. I'm going to be doing a ton of podcasts coming up. I hired a PR agency, paying them $2,500 a month, and they are going out and getting me on television shows, podcasts, radio, because I want to promote AO. And so one of the avenues I'm taking to promote AO is to go out there and be a guest expert on podcasts and radio and television and things like that, to spread the word, to try to attract more business owners to come to AO. So these are the types of things that you would do in your business. Be a guest speaker. I would certainly continue to do anything that's going to showcase my expertise to my intended audience, with call to action saying, go to this website and get this free download and create an email marketing program. I did that post in the group yesterday of the guy that's in network marketing. He wrote a book. So he wrote a book. He probably went out there and went on a speaking tour talking about the book. He probably went on podcasts. He's a great entertainer on his Instagram. We have to do a lot of things to continually get the word out, and it's a combination of all those things that will bring in new customers. This is one of the hardest parts. I talk about this a lot. This is one of the hardest parts of being a single operating business. We have to do everything, which is why it's so important to build a company that allows us to scale the product and service so that we can start hiring, have the cash flow to start hiring people to do a lot of the things that the business needs done in order to grow. It's very overwhelming when it's just us. It's very overwhelming when we have a limited budget. It's very overwhelming, but this is part of being a business owner. We have to do the things that the business needs in order to be successful. So I hope that helps. Keep those questions coming, Martina, because I really want you to succeed, okay? The next question comes from Corey. And Corey says, when selling online, do I talk about the benefits and uses of my product? The background is I'm a distributor of a water ionizer, which has 7 different pH waters and have 64 plus uses, anywhere from healthy, pure drinking water to hygiene care, eco-friendly cleaning. Are there any resources on this? So Corey, absolutely. In the portal, I know that there's pro code sales. In the portal, in the resource center, Tom has done a bunch of sales videos in the 4 pillars, the weekly Zooms. The bottom line is you got to figure out who the eventual customer is and where do you go to meet them and talk to them about the products and services that you offer. So that's kind of the missing link here. So what you have to determine is are your potential customers going to purchase your product online, or are they going to purchase it at a store, or are they going to purchase it from a face-to-face demonstration? How do people buy your product? And that's how you're going to sell it to them. And you can work with Tom on his weekly Zooms to ask him about how to create a sales process for your business. For $500, he will work with you one-on-one to help you create your sales scripts and your objection answers to the objections that people have. $500 to work with Tom to help you do those things is priceless. Priceless. It's a no-brainer. If you don't have a great sales script and objection handling scripts for your business, you should immediately send Shirley an email and say, hey, Shirley, Shawn mentioned that I could hire Tom for $500 to help me with my scripts. How can I make that happen? I would do that like right now. I hired Tom for my business back in the day. It was the best thing I ever did. Ask Shirley. She worked with Tom and the guy that managed Shirley. So as far as a sales manager. So this is what I would do. I would get my sales scripts down. Okay? I hope that helps. Okay, the last question comes from Ricardo, and Ricardo says, should my business have an employee handbook or operation manual? The background is I have a barbershop and I'm looking to build the brand behind it. I want my business to be able to scale in the most smooth way possible. That way I can get investors interested. So I don't think investors ever invest in a barbershop. I don't think that would be something an investor would invest in. They might invest in a complete line of barbershops if you build a strong enough brand and you have the experience and the business plan to build 10 locations or something like that. And if that's something that you're going to do, I would certainly talk to Dan Abate, one of the mentors in here, and have him work with you on that, Ricardo. But yes, every single thing that your business does, from opening the door in the morning, managing the equipment, cleaning the equipment, ordering products, stocking the shelves, billing your customers, how customers pay, how bookings are done, how they close the shop, everything A to Z, it's always best if you document every single thing that the business does. The more processes you can document, the more streamlined your business will be, and it's going to be easier to train people to know what to do and how to do it instead of just telling them this is how you do it. If it's a documented process in the form of like a video and a Word document, I use a software called Trainual. It's the best online operations manual training type of software out there on the marketplace. Yes, yes, yes. And yes, you should have an employee handbook if you have actual W-2 employees. If your workers are 1099 or contract workers, then they won't have an employee manual, but they would have an independent contractor agreement that spells out the terms of, how they should act, what they should wear, what their compensation is, all those types of things. But yes and yes, an employee handbook and documenting processes 100% will streamline your business. Okay? All right, that's today's mentor session. I hope you guys got some great value of this. And Honey will be sending you the answers to your questions by email today. And I hope you have a great day. Peace out.